I always find that what makes us human really are our contradictions. And both my own personal contradictions and the contradictions that I discover as I am becoming more familiar with a different person is really what interests me. You have, like you mentioned, over 600 interviews with some of the most prominent people in America and abroad. How has the lessons of discovering contradictions in humanity informed your feeling on the human race today?
Wow, that's a deep question.
Too deep? Back to sports, Alex.
I mean, let's go to the Russian invasion of Ukraine and use that as an example. As a leader of a country, why would somebody want to do that?
Right.
And now they're bombing civilians, and
awful.
You kind of lose your faith in humanity. But at the same time, you look at the Ukrainians and they're up against Goliath.
It's amazing.
And they have not lost their spirit.
Yeah.
So, there's so many lessons to be learned there. And, people in the United States now are saying, we don't care about the gas prices. If it helps Ukraine, we can swallow that, So anyway, I don't want to get into politics, but it's a very sad situation for the Ukrainian people. And that president
he's amazing.
was born to be where he's at today.
He was a comedian.
I know he was.
I didn't know that. I had a guest here in between.
He's a TV star too.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I had a guest here in between Randy Edelman and this wonderful interview from Ukraine, and we were talking about what his life was pre-1991 when Ukrainian nationalism really took over. And it's just so interesting to see the way the birth of that nation has taken root in Europe.
It's so true.
It really is this, Slavic spring, right? But it's working.
Yeah, absolutely. It also makes you aware of any problems that you might be experiencing in your own life are minuscule.
That's true.
They're minuscule.
Yeah.
And our hearts go out to these people, these brave, courageous people. And hopefully things will work out in their favor in the long haul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope so. It's a scary situation. We have some friends here at the studio who had some family stuck in Odessa. And so we were doing everything we could to get them to Moldova. But the men were turned away at the border.
Were they?
Yeah, all the men apparently are turned away at the border and ushered back
to fight. There's also thousands of men from around the world that are trying to get into Ukraine.
It's pretty badass, right?
Yeah, to help fight for them.
Incredible.
And before this war happened, they had no ties at all with Ukraine.
Right. They just know the cost of freedom, and they're willing to put themselves on the line.
They want to fight for democracy.
I love that. Those are real heroes.
They are.
It's and it's interesting to see how much Putin has been contradicting himself. But here's the funny thing: is like there's always this kind of quirky ignorance to history.
It's hard to understand almost.
It's hard to understand, and as soon as you think you understand it, you're already in the trappings of the next contradiction.
Absolutely.
Right? Where we think we have Europe under control, and now all of a sudden it's flipped completely on its head.
And I don't know how any country or any leader of any country will be able to look at Putin after this is over without seeing war criminal tattooed on his forehead. I don't see how he could survive moving forward.
Yeah. I think best case scenario, it would be really amazing if the Russian people did something.
And they're trying.
Yeah.
But, if you get arrested in Russia for protesting against the government, you get 15 years in jail.
It's insane.
And they're still doing it.
Yep.
So they don't want any part of this.
Yeah.
This is just one man's delusion.
Hopefully it's the last gasp of that. That old school regime mentality.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense, right? Because it's really pathetic.
Yeah, it almost like he's doing this because he's jealous. He was jealous of how the Ukrainians have evolved. They were happy. It was a modern place. And, he's still looking for that old Russian regime that failed decades ago.
Oh yeah, he's trying to bring back the USSR for sure.
And it's not going to happen.